Assassin's Creed is good. It's the best game ever, in fact. It's good, I tell you. It's good. I think we are literally here, by the way. And I don't know what Luke is gonna say, but he's already soy-pogging, and the only one who can soy-pog is me in the thumbnails, okay? Other than that, it's illegal.
Well, everyone, I am sick of not knowing specific numbers about how many people played AC Shadows, but that changes today. I'm also actually sick, as you can tell by my voice, but you know what? We have news breaking about how many people actually played and potentially bought AC Shadows, and we can infer from...
I have not heard any official news on that. I mean, did Ubisoft even come out and say, oh, we have 3 million users? I don't think they even did that.
From that, how well it performed and whether Ubisoft is happy or not with its performance, blah, blah, blah. So let's check it out. For this video, we're gonna look at some...
By the way, just on a quick side note, everyone who says, well, Assassin's Creed Shadows could be successful, but Ubisoft still is gonna not survive this. That's the stupidest, fucking dumbest opinion ever. If Ubisoft couldn't survive this by making a game, they would not make a game. They would just call it quits. Idiots.
Leaked information that insiders at Ubisoft have shared with various journalists and outlets and stuff, like Tom Henderson with Insider Gaming and VGC, or Video Game Chronicle. They have gotten some sneak peeks at the behind the scenes data that only people within Ubisoft could see, and we're going to compare that to what has been made public at this point as well from Ubisoft officially, because as we all know, you can't always take like as spoken truth what a company tells you when they're trying to like hype you up for something. But I think the main takeaway from this video is going to be that Assassin's Creed Shadows is performing significantly better than I think most people, including those within Ubisoft, were expecting. And I've even spoken to people within the company, and yeah, they all seem somewhat surprised at how well it's doing. So we're going to talk about it. And
okay, what were their expectations in that case?
don't worry, I'm going to share with you specifics so that you can go from there. But first, thank you to our...
No ads, thank you very much.
Okay, so the first thing to note is that the official Assassin's Creed X profile in all of their social media posted at 7 a.m. on March 22nd that in just 2 days, they had achieved 2 million players. No doubt that is a big number, and that's what you would hope to see for a franchise that is huge like AC. But the question...
I mean, to be fair, that the fact that it somehow is gonna hit 2 million players, be it at the end of the month, at the end of the year, it was expected. Again, this thing could sell 2 million copies by the end of the year, even though currently, I mean, 1 million copies, 1.1 million copies is like super peak maximum, which seems completely unrealistic that it has sold. My money is still on 600, maybe 700k now at this point, considering like a day or two has passed. Maybe it has actually gotten at least close to the 700k sales mark.
Question is what 2 million players actually means. Does that mean sales? Well, absolutely.
Well, it means the same when Disney says that the only Star Wars series that came out this year was their best Star Wars series that came out this year, and it had 300 trillion nanoseconds watched. Yeah, yeah. That's what it means.
Not. If they meant sales, they would say sales. It means that 2 million players have engaged with the game, have booted it up, and that could mean family sharing, that could include giveaway copies, that could include all sorts of things like Ubisoft Plus and different subscription models that can get access to it. So it's not super clear exactly how many units have sold.
By the way, also, no, when it comes to Xbox, everyone is bringing up, oh, Xbox is supposed to be now your pen that doesn't have electricity attached to it, and it's supposed to sell game passes. And we have not gotten to this situation just yet. I have not seen a single comment saying, oh, they're just doing this to sell Ubi Plus or whatever their shitty version of Game Pass is. They're not doing this. If they were doing this, it wouldn't be a day one release on Steam. If their goal was to sell Ubisoft Game Pass subscriptions or whatever the hell it's called, they would not do that. But they did. So that wasn't the goal ever. Also, they haven't said that that's the goal of PlayStation releasing a game ever. So again, when that part starts, you already know it's cope.
Sold. But that's why numbers such as revenue that's actually been brought in, how much money it's actually generating, can be much, much more useful. And we actually do have some of that information.
Revenue is not a useful number, my little sweet prince, okay? Well, autistic sweet prince, I guess. Revenue can easily not include minus money from canceled buys, canceled this, canceled microtransactions, refunds, and all of that stuff. Revenue may easily be okay. Let's imagine they have sold 500,000 copies, but 100K of these copies have been refunded, because gamers are getting really good with refunding, by the way. 10 out of 10. Keep up the refunding, boys. If it's shit, refund it. Indie, AAA, doesn't matter. Refund it. Bad games deserve to die. It's very simple logic, really. And I think most of us can agree with that premises. It's not even a hot take, honestly, right? So, refunding. Revenue may not include refunds. This is why we have a revenue, profit, pure profit, revenue minus... There's so many ways that you can split these things up.
Which I'll get to in a second, because we have gotten leaks as to how much money Assassin's Creed Shadows has actually made compared to Valhalla, Odyssey, Origins, and all of the other recent Assassin's Creed games. But first, Tom Henderson came forward and reported that, according to his sources within Ubisoft, these are what the player numbers currently look like. So behind the scenes data via Ubisoft, Valhalla day one player numbers were at 2.55 million. 2.55 million players. Now remember, Valhalla launched in the middle of the dark times to stay YouTube friendly, and it also launched during the holiday season. It launched during a time where video games tend to do really, really well. So day one player numbers being so high was not particularly shocking. And even though I don't really like Valhalla, it without a doubt is the most financially successful Assassin's Creed game that has ever been released.
20 million copies.
It made over $1 billion. It was a huge success for them monetarily. Technically, more individual unique players have played Odyssey, which is interesting, but Valhalla has made the most money, so it's kind of set the bar. Odyssey day one player numbers were at 430,000. Now this is technically early access because they did an early access thing. I believe the official launch day, they had engaged 1 million players by that point. So roughly 1 million. This isn't super clear because again, it's early access, but it was about 1 million by actual launch day. And then Shadows, we only have official day 2 numbers. They did say on day 1 they had 1 million players, but we don't know if that's 1.2. We don't know if that's 1.0. We don't know if that's 1.9. We don't know. But day 2, they were at 2.2 million units. And this means that if you extrapolate expected player counts based on what Valhalla did after its first month compared to where it started, Odyssey after a month versus where it started, Shadows is actually on track to generate around 6.
Okay. So, if this happened, by the way, if this data was like from 20 years ago, and this situation happened roughly 15 or even 10 years ago, I would agree with this, by the way. I would agree with this. This is a solid deduction. This is a solid business analysis. This is pretty good, prediction. But nowadays, the game has changed. The game has changed a lot. And obviously, I'm talking about wokeness and all of these things. Now, we see a thing that when a game that comes out super woke, or is supposed to be hated, there's going to be a lot of eyes on it, and it's going to boost their day one sales tremendously. Assassin's Creed Shadows is 100% in this. Let's see. Dragon Age Railgod, I think, is the pro bono example of this situation, right? Assassin's Creed Dragon Age Railgod has not sold 1 million copies yet. And it had 80K people on Steam launch, and it had better statistics on, Xbox and all of that shit, right? Yeah. Okay? We have that statistic. Everyone, the hype for day one is like 100 times bigger than it was like 5 years ago at this point. But the hype dies down. if it's a bad game, people stop playing it after a month. Not even a month, but after a week, people just no longer buy it. It's done. It's dead. It's dead in the water. No one's buying it. Same thing with Starfield. 20 million concurrent players because of Game Pass. It's the Bethesda release. 330, I think, was their top player peak on Steam. That is, how much did this have? 70? So that's like 4.7 times smaller. 4.7 times smaller than Starfield, and Starfield had 20 million players, okay? And if these numbers are comparable, which they are, but aren't really one-to-one comparable, then there's slight deviations. If the Steam numbers differential is 4.7 times roughly, then that means that currently, because of this peak, if Assassin's Creed Odyssey was as popular as Starfield, by the way, which was a disaster with 20 million players, not payers, but players, by Bethesda's and Microsoft's own metrics, then we should roughly estimate that Assassin's Creed Shadows should have roughly 5 or 6 million players right now, right at this moment. But at the same time, Ubisoft hasn't said that, which is strange because they did the 1 million announcement, they did the 2 million announcement. Because again, the fact that they did the 1 million announcement and 2 million announcement supports my theory. Because every company in this world will always tell you good numbers and try to hide bad numbers. And if Assassin's Creed Shadows hit the 3 million mark, they would have. If they hit the 4 million mark, they would have. If they hit the 5 million mark, they would have told you. But they're not telling you that. They stopped at 2 million. And again, all of these numbers kind of are not matching. They're kind of not really doing a lot here. Though, this doesn't look like it's going to be true. And this just further proves my point that the releases for games are so much bigger now, because it's like there's literally channels like my channel that partially literally exists because of game releases as shit as this, because everyone's interested. And that means, again, day one is going to be huger launches, and that's it. But after that, it evaporates if your game is bad.
Million players within its first month, with Valhalla having done about 8. Odyssey peaked at 3.4 million total players after its first month. So just player count wise, Shadows is doing significantly better than Odyssey did. And all of the reporting pre-launch for Shadows suggested that internal expectations were that it was going to do about what Odyssey did. All of the articles were internal sources say that Shadows is in
Bro, why he dressed like a pimp in Japan?
line with Odyssey, with pre-order numbers and all of that. But since launching, it's actually gotten really good word of mouth. People are recommending it. Clips are going viral on TikTok and Instagram showing cool things like the snow melting in real time. And that's making people try it who otherwise...
There's no fucking melting. It's the same when Starfield had that viral video about, oh, look at this, Domino's, but then sandwiches, Domino's, sandwiches, Domino's. Yeah, that's the same energy right there. Wow, snow is melting. Wow, that's the first game that has ever done anything like that. Wow. No one gives a shit.
Wouldn't have, and are not plugged into like the internet drama around it. And so we've seen player counts continue to rise and engagement continue to rise. But all of this is kind of stupid and useless unless we know how much money
He's lying. Again, we haven't seen in the engagement rise
is actually being made, because money is what actually makes the wheels go round. You can have 10 million players, but if nobody paid for your game, it doesn't really matter. What matters is how much money is being generated. And this brings us to the Video Games Chronicle article by Andy Robinson, and they have their own sources, similar to Insider Gaming, within Ubisoft.
Wait. This was the article I wanted to read, but then I didn't because seasons.
who have shared with them some specific revenue data. Revenue just meaning all of the money coming in. That means they're looking at the numbers from Ubisoft Plus, Connect Plus, whatever it's called nowadays, their subscription model where you can pay $18 a month and get access to their whole first party library. They're looking at sales copies. Some copies you can get on sale for...
That is so disingenuous looking, by the way, at these numbers. You see why all of these gaming companies want to have their Game Pass shit? Because, okay, how much do you think of the Game Pass sales that are going to attribute to Assassin's Creed Shadows? Probably everything, every last dime. Even probably from people who just clicked on it, installed, and go into it, just because they interacted with it once. And they're going to attribute all of that to Assassin's Creed Shadows. Money is actually not a good variable here.
Like 5-10% off already because they're just trying to get people to play the game. This looks, of course, at copies that...
Wait, what did he just say?
Copies. Some copies you can get on sale for like 5-10% off already because they're just trying to get people to play the game. This looks, of course, at copies that people got for free as part of...
Bro literally said that Ubisoft is doing that one thing that literally not a single successful game launch ever fucking does, aka go on discount day 3 of its release. There is not a single successful game title that ever goes on discount, even the first month. And yet Ubisoft is going on discount day goddamn 0.4 hours in.
Of other bundled promotions or giveaways, and then it counts all the microtransactions that they might have engaged with. All of that stuff is included in these numbers, and this is the real meat and potatoes, because again, player count doesn't really matter if nobody's spending money. What matters is the money, and that's what they have. So
player count does matter more than the money spent, because on average you're estimating all of your microtransactions and all of that based on player count. If Assassin's Creed Shadows, by the way, becomes successful because one dude decided to spend fucking $1 billion on it, that's actually not gonna make the game successful. It will be monetarily successful, but it will not be successful in that case. Well, in every other case. And the next iteration of the game is gonna be a disaster if that one guy doesn't now buy $1 billion worth of microtransactions. This is why when companies are concentrating on the money, that typically is a bad sign, because growth is more important than money, because more growth equals more money. Everyone knows it. But when you try to get more money and growth has stopped, that means you're doing predatory practices.
So to be specific, the article says, quote, according to further data seen by VGC, Shadows delivered the second highest day one sales revenue in the franchise's history, behind only Valhalla, which, not a huge shocker. Again, Valhalla was an exceptional game through and through. The fact it did so well, it launched at the perfect time, blah, blah, blah. But still, that is a remarkable number to have hit, especially if you looked online at like the discourse around Shadows. You would have thought that this game was headed for like an absolute ass whooping in the marketplace.
I mean, just wait a little bit. This is not the first time devs lie about shit. Like, which was, there were 2 games. 2 big releases in the past year where devs fucking lied about how successful it is. Well, maybe they didn't lie. Maybe they actually just were not numbers people. Because devs are numbers people, by the way. The numbers people are still in finance, and and your average dev has absolutely no contact with fucking finance. So, I mean, maybe the truth is some devs are just stupid and think whatever the fuck is going on is a success. That is actually a possibility.
But it really didn't. Like, it actually seems to be doing quite well. They continue. Notably, it did so launching in March, when other series entries arrived during the more lucrative Thanksgiving season, and did not benefit from the pandemic boost enjoyed by Valhalla. They also continue on. Shadows marked Ubisoft's best ever day one launch on the PlayStation Digital Store. Best ever, day one on PlayStation. It was the
the PlayStation. No one cares. Didn't fucking care store. Oh, the PlayStation Store. Who uses it? No one uses it, my dude. Oh no. They don't even release numbers for it.
The most wishlisted Ubisoft title of all time.
Wow. That is so crazy. I bet they can actually say this about every Assassin's Creed on the PlayStation Store. That's just the reality, because no one cares about the PlayStation Store.
And generated over 11 million watch hours on Twitch. The strongest start for
Watch hours on Twitch.
any recent Ubisoft title, including Valhalla.
Yeah, because a lot of people wanted to see how bad the game is on Twitch. That's also real.
Significantly, PC represented around 27% of total activations, which likely encompasses full sales and subscription downloads via Ubisoft Plus, with Steam playing, quote, a significant role in that performance. Isn't it crazy? Like if you launch your game.
So you're telling me... Okay, so you're telling me AC Shadow's launch was potentially 280k people? That would make 2 million sales, which is impossible because they would say the sales number if the sales number was good. Again, the players are different from buyers.
Quote, a significant role in that performance. Isn't it crazy? Like if you launch.
Players are potentially people who hovered over the icon, or people who accidentally did not stop the automatic AC Shadows trailer download.
Launch your game on the world's biggest PC gaming platform, your games will sell well. Like, isn't that crazy? But for years, Ubisoft didn't launch games on Steam. This was like a big move for them to bring Shadows to Steam.
Wait. Did I misread? Significantly player computers, right? PS. PS is PlayStation, PC is player computers, right? Represented around 27% of total activations, which likely encompasses full sales and subscription. Bro, what is he talking about? Bro, what the fuck is this guy on? Is he retarded?
With Steam playing, quote, a significant role in that performance. Isn't it crazy? Like if you launch your game on the world's biggest PC gaming platform, your games will sell well. Like,
fucking idiot. What is written right here says that Steam is 1/4 of the total sales or activations, which is not sales, but who honestly cares, right? If this is true, then Ubisoft doesn't need Steam, but we know that Ubisoft has fucking crawled to Steam for years now because their sales are shit. We know that every game that they have released is a disaster and they're going to Steam because they're desperate for extra sales. And now you're telling me, now this thing right here in front of my eyes is literally telling me that Steam actually doesn't matter, that the Ubisoft launcher is the best thing in the universe. Because again, so you're telling me Steam represents only 1/4 of all sales, and that the super majority is on Ubisoft Plus because on Xbox this game didn't even breach top 20 day one launch, most played games, and the 10th position on Xbox is on average 3 to 10k players, 10k rarely concurrent players. So 99%. Why do they even need Steam in that case? Like, Ubisoft would completely ignore Steam if this statistic was true.
Plus, with Steam.
And this guy doesn't understand this. Like, Luke's looking at this sentence and he's like, wow, look at how big Steam is. It's making Ubisoft. No, Steam is like an afterthought. It's a fucking Afterbird made into a smoothie drank by a fucking American Karen at this point. This is unreal. This is lies. This is not true.
Steam playing, quote, a significant role in that performance. Isn't it crazy? Like if you launch your game on the world's biggest PC gaming platform, your games will sell well. Like, isn't that crazy? But for years, Ubisoft didn't launch games on Steam. This was like a big move for them to bring Shadows to Steam day one instead of like a year later. But it's because like you got to meet players where they are. You can't just expect everybody to dump everything just to follow you to your proprietary launcher, which keeps logging me out every 10 seconds and keeps accidentally deleting my cloud saves.
How does he not understand he's completely lost?
It's a separate issue. I'm still
insane.
I'm bitter. I'm bitter at Ubisoft Connect because it deleted my cloud save for Black Flag, so I don't have my like super cool end game Black Flag save, and I have to start over. But maybe I'll just wait until the Black Flag remake later this year. Yeah, I did a video on that as well. Go links below, check it out. But yeah, they're making a remake of Black Flag. Anyway, continuing. But listen, what I've also heard, I've spoken to 3 separate people that work at Ubisoft in various positions, and what they've all communicated to me was that their bosses, who presumably have access to more specific data, their bosses are...
He talked with janitors. He talked with janitors. Listen, so the people who know the sales numbers are not the devs. It's the people at finance. And if we're talking about, and if anyone from finance talked to this dude, then they would never say, my boss told me the sales are good. Because everyone in finance is capable of looking at the numbers themselves. They don't need their boss to tell them, oh yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good, Billy. My retarded, useless analyst that doesn't even know how to look at sales fucking numbers for our own fucking game. So, whoever he has talked to is not finance. No one in finance would need to talk to their boss to confirm are these numbers good, because everyone would know if the numbers are good or not. So, whoever he's talking to, if anyone, they're not from finance. They're probably the fucking janitor.
Are, quote, pleased, whatever that means, with the game's performance at this point. I've heard from other people, the higher ups are thrilled, are super excited, like typical mumbo jumbo you might hear from your bosses, but at the very least they're not like freaking out about it. And as we found out more specific data, it seems that this is not just tracking with Odyssey, it is
now, to be fair, they would probably be excited because, again, people haven't still caught on to now that day one launches are significantly bigger than all other times. But after that, the sales just drop if the game is bad. It's like a complete plunge of irrelevance.
Significantly outperforming Odyssey. It's not meeting Valhalla's numbers, but literally no one expected it to. Rather, it's outperforming a game which already was pretty financially successful in the form of Odyssey.
Okay. How much sales do you think Ubisoft is expecting from AC Shadows? 8 million? 11 million? 12 million peak? I think, minimum 7, maximum 12. 10 seems a pretty safe bet for all things.
Odyssey. So it seems to have somehow overcome all of the drama and stuff, and it's just a solid game. Stuff I would change, certainly, but it's not a disaster and it's not a flop. Now, is it enough to like prevent some sort of corporate restructuring at Ubisoft? No, I don't think so. I've said a bajillion times, I think that's written in the stars already. I think the years of mismanagement eventually come due. Like, even if you have one banging success, it doesn't undo years of mistakes. Again, Warner Brothers Discovery is a great example with Warner Brothers games specifically, where they for years mismanaged their portfolio of studios, of games, IP, and by the time that they had Hogwarts Legacy, the damage was already kind of done. So even though that made $1 billion, it didn't really matter because they had other stuff that was losing money elsewhere, and I think Ubisoft's in a similar position. They still need significant
Yeah, he completely doesn't understand what he's talking about. He just characterized 2 different situations and thought they're the same. AKA the Warner Brothers situation, where Warner Brothers games themselves don't change anything, but the games around them are failing, so they need to cut them and restructure from that. Which is completely different than Ubisoft being Ubisoft. Because Ubisoft doesn't have like an external company that they own and it's not performing well and they need to cut off. They need to change their own actions. Which, by the way, a company does not need to do if they're suddenly their whatever game is successful. So, that's also a thing.
Overhauls to management, they need restructurings, they need people to be promoted and demoted and fired and laid off, whatever. They need restructurings to get the company healthy again. And I'm glad that Shadows ended up being a pretty solid game, but it doesn't change the years of mismanagement. I don't think that
What the hell do these people think that healthy game is? What do they think a success is? If this game is not enough to keep Ubisoft afloat, then how the fuck is this a success in general? It's not.
just gets hand waved away now, because again, we're not talking about gamers who are like now more confident in their ability to put out solid games. We're talking about investors. It's investors who are pressuring Ubisoft's board, who are pressuring Ubisoft's CEOs and executive suite. Those are the guys that you have to please, and they are not gamers. Like, they are only concerned with the business. They're only concerned with the bottom line and the dollars that are flowing in and out. And after years,
that's actually kind of funny, considering there was an open letter from some kind of part of Ubisoft's investors that said Ubisoft is retarded. They should actually look at the long-term profitability of this franchise, not like just milking it. Okay, the exact opposite of what Luki here said. Anyway, I think I'm done. I can't. Now he's trying to talk real finance, and I'm kind of just killing myself if I keep hearing him say stupid shit. Anyway, that was Luke Stephens. A shill. 10 out of 10. Bye!